Hello, comrades, and welcome back to another episode of Ushanka Show, stories about life in the Soviet Union. My name is Sergey, and I was born in the USSR. Меня зовут Сергей, и я родился в Советском Союзе. And by the way, if you like my channel, please subscribe, because according to my calculations, to reach 100,000 subscribers, I need 7.5 years. So let's cut down to 5, so we'll have the 5-year plan to make Ushanka Show and 100k subs channel. Thank you. Today we're going back to the topic of hygiene in the Soviet Union, and we're going to talk about shaving. Fun fact, shaving and clean-shaven faces were introduced to Russia about 320 years ago by Peter the Great, or also known as Peter the First. In September of 1698, so that's 1 year before the famous Amish Party of 1699, Peter the Great introduced the law that required chopping the beards of anyone who was part of the Russian government, so-called boyare. So anyone who was around the Tsar, or as Peter the Great called himself, emperor, they were required to get rid of their beards. But apparently that law wasn't enough to force the Russians to get rid of their huge long beards. So 7 years later, in 1705, Peter the Great introduced so-called beard tax. So anyone who had a beard, boroda in Russian, had to pay tax. So the Russian upper crust, or jet set society, if you can call that, were required to pay from 60 to 100 rubles per year. And back then, ruble, that was a lot of money. So I don't know, maybe it was close to 10,000 dollars per year, maybe. The others were required to pay 30 rubles a year beard tax. The only people that were not taxable for the beard department were peasants. They only had to pay a small tax when they entered the city. So they come for a market, and then at the entry of the city they had to pay a small amount of money if they had a beard. Then Russia had this beard trickle-down effect. So first the elites became clean-shaved, then the cities became clean-shaved, and only 250 years later, around 1900s, that generation, like my grandfather who was born in 1907, they and lived in the village, that's when the peasants became clean shaved, and not became that they began shaving their faces. I don't have many pictures of my grandfather, but the ones that I have, neither him or his friends ever were sporting a beard. So I said the generation from early 1900s, I think in America they call it silent generation. That's the people who survived Great Depression. I didn't see anyone who had a beard. If you follow my channel, you know that I spent pretty much every summer as a kid my summer breaks in the village with parents of my mother. So that's how I got introduced to shaving. I was just watching my grandfather shave. My father was shaving too, but he used electric shaver, and in the bathroom when in Kiev apartment, so there was nothing really fun to watch. He usually would close the door, you just hear the noise of his Kharkov 2 electric shaver. But my grandpa, that was a different story. My grandparents lived in a 2-room log cabin, and the only convenience they had there was electricity. So there was no bathroom, no indoor bathroom, no running water. So my grandpa would set it up, everything on a table. Then he had to heat up water, get that little aluminum cup, put a little piece of хозяйственное мыло, that laundry soap, and use pomazok, hot water, and froth her up to make a foam. So that's already quite a long process just to get ready for shaving. So as a little kid, it was fun for me to watch all this preparation. So he will make some soap foam, apply to his face, then he would use straight razor, which we call in Russian опасная бритва, dangerous razor, on his neck and on his cheeks. Then he would use so-called stanok, so that's the other shaver, to kind of for more detail, hard to reach areas. So that'll be a long process, and I'll just sit there and watch him doing it. and I was quite amazed. When it was my time to begin shaving, my father bought me electrical shaver, once again Kharkov. That factory was producing electric shavers for the whole country. It was in black and color, so pretty much I was using electric shaver for years. Then after collapse of the Soviet Union, I got Gillette, the best the man can get, and that's the only kind of shaver I used since then, and pretty much the disposables. Unfortunately, I don't have my Soviet electric shaver or my dad's, because when my brother turned about 15 or so, he became really interested in anything electronics in the house. So he took apart everything that was running electricity, including the shavers, because he was so curious to see what was inside. But unfortunately, he never could put it together right. So those things are gone. I wish I had it now, but it's not available. So when I was gathering information for this story, I looked it up, and most people complain about the quality of the Soviet razors. A lot of them were coming from St. Petersburg. Back then it was Leningrad. The brand was called Neva. That's the name of the river in Leningrad. And those were the one made from the steel that could rust. It was a dark kind of black color. And people complained that they were getting dull really quick. And of course, if you leave them wet, they will rust out. They also manufactured stainless steel shavers blades called Sputnik. So those were a little bit better, but still, like pretty much everyone who used that type of blades, they were complaining that they didn't like. It was really rough on the skin, guaranteed you a rash and stuff like that. We had shaving cream available, and of course aftershave. A lot of people use eau de cologne. But a lot of people just used, as I said, the little pieces of the laundry soap, хозяйственное мыло, to create that soap foam, and that's what was applied to their faces, and then you just shave. And generally, most people in the cities were using electric shavers, and the villagers were mostly using straight razors or stanki. And now I would like to tell you quite a silly story about shaving and social media. So my father Nikolai, him and I had kind of, I don't know, other family had a similar situation, but we had this interesting relations. Like I had two different fathers. When we were in the city in Kiev, he was busy working, and quite often when he comes home from work, he would be drunk. So he just, staggers home, then he takes a nap, wakes up, watches TV, watches soccer, goes to sleep. So we didn't interact much in the city, but he was like a totally different person when he came for his vacation to the village. So I'll be there all summer long for my summer break, and then my mother and my dad will show up for 1 month when they had their summer vacation. And I said over there he was a totally different person because he was far away from his buddies, drinking buddies. So we'll go together fishing, we'll go together mushroom hunting, we'll chop wood together. He'll teach me how to start fire from a single match. So I had an amazing father in the village for 1 month every summer, and then he'd be like almost like total stranger while we were in the city. Then in 1998, when I was 27, I went to America, and I kind of settled down in the United States in Michigan, and then I just started coming home back to Ukraine and to visit my parents, my family. And my father suddenly had this interesting, like they call, there's a different love languages. There's a book, even the 7 languages of love. And it's not only between, like boyfriend and girlfriend, husband and wife, but also like between parents and kids. So my father had this interesting, he just wanted to shave my face. It was kind of strange, but I was like, okay, sure. He just like, do you mind if I want to give you a nice shave. So there's the picture that was taken sometimes around, I don't know, 2004 maybe, 2010, so quite a while ago. And this is what going on. My dad has that, that throwaway shaver, and he will go through all this routine to make foam and apply it on my face. It's just basically like a barber shop. So he will be my barber. Then I made a big mistake and I posted this picture on Flickr. I don't know if any of you remember. There is a website, it's still there, called Flickr. It used to be super popular. That was like before Instagram became the thing. There was a photo sharing website. So I posted this picture among the other photos of my visit to Ukraine. And after a while, I had to take that photo private because it became like a magnet for gay people. There were so many quite, I don't say rude, but really explicit comments about that it looks so sexy and they would love to have sex with me, because just I guess this whole a guy shaving another guy, apparently it's a big turn on for gay guys. So I ended up taking this photo down from Flickr because it was just like views skyrocketed, but of course you don't make any money on Flickr, and comments were quite interesting. Also, there's a fun fact about electric shavers in the Soviet Union. Apparently, they were introduced by Nikita Khrushchev. So Nikita Khrushchev, during one of his visits, was introduced to electric shaver. He got it as a present, and he liked it so much that, back in the Soviet days, if the leader liked something, that's how we got Pepsi. If Nikita liked the electric shaver, we made a copycat of that device. I think it was a French model, and in Kharkov, second largest city in Ukraine, they began manufacturing Kharkov electric shavers, электрические бритвы, and for years that was I would say number one brand in the Soviet Union for electric shavers. Personally, I don't care much about shaving. There's some people who make this like the whole big experience and they're looking for nice expensive shavers. I care less, honestly. The only weird thing what I do, I really keep all the hair off my cheeks. If you're a guy and when you get older, hair started popping up everywhere. So I tweeze my face. So if I stop shaving, I'll have automatically like pretty decent looking goatee and a side, not the whiskers, but it will be like, it will grow as a perfect shaped beard, because anything above that line, I'd tweeze everything. So my cheeks always nice and clean shaven, just because I don't let anything grow there. Just I find it it's really convenient. So if I'm, busy or something like that, of course my neck will be showing some stubborn, whatever the word is, but my cheeks, that would look like a perfect beard, and a lot of people like surprised, like, oh my goodness. I like, no, it's all done with tweezers for many years. So that's kind of a thing what I do to minimize my shaving headaches. I hate the look of when the whole face is covered with this big beard, including cheeks. Well, my friends, that's all I have for you today about shaving. If I missed something, if you still have questions, please post below this video. Don't forget to like it, and we'll talk to you soon. До свидания. Goodbye. By the way, cool merch for cool comrades is available at the Ushanka store at teespring.com. Just a friendly reminder that my book American Diaries is available on amazon.com, or shoot me an email if you would like to have a signed copy. Thank you. And if you love my channel and would like to show your support, please click on the link below this video and become the patron of the Ushanka Show. For as little as $1, you can help us grow and create the new, interesting videos about the life in Soviet